Major undervalued cryptos in 2025. Let's get into it. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name is Neil, where we keep technical analysis short and sweet. Looking at Bitcoin, we talked about in the previous video, it had that push down with the wick off, which is this bar that I had placed here from previous history of Bitcoin. We're most likely going to see consolidation for a little while, maybe a few more days before that push up. Moving right in over to Quant. Quant is looking very nice. You've seen this pattern before. We pulled it up in multiple other charts, and we see that we pushed up, had the blow off, tested this upward trend line once again, and then we pushed back up over 125. We are currently at 129, and what we really need to see is a close above this high right here at 134, and then we'll start seeing it push up to 149. With the Fibonacci retracement, the 618 is all the way up here at $278. I assume if you don't get in at 129, you're going to not want to get into quant at 278. This is one of the better opportunities for you to start buying your quant and stacking your bag. Volume is picking up. The RSI is trying to break out in the overbought area. However, whenever we do close a high above that 134, this is going to start pushing up very quickly. I imagine at least to 238. First, we have to be breaking over the 172. And if we can close and hold above that 172, it may just be one candle where it pushes way up to 235 and then closes. We may see a quick retracement to bring up the volume and then push it back up towards the 280. However, the all-time high, I believe we can start seeing a high of $1,000 to $1,500 for a $129 investment. That is not a bad ROI. There are other coins that will make you more money, but for a swing trade, if you're buying and holding and then selling out, getting some of your profits out and putting them into other coins is not a bad idea. I have a pretty big bag myself of the QNT, as I know that it's got a very good utility behind it. And we had our entry down here at around 100. We also had our very first entry here around 76. The reason we are entering more is we were breaking over this orange downward trend line from a previous trend, and then the bigger one that we needed to see was this black downward trend line. And we see clearly that once it broke over that black trend line, it pushed up to around 120, a little bit of consolidation, made a high, and then everybody was panicking here whenever we were testing the 200 EMA as well as this downward trend line, which was necessary before pushing up. We don't want to see it just skyrocket, because then we will see a blow off and it'll start to retrace. We want to see this nice creeping, inching up over this previous high and then pushing up to the 150 and ultimately getting up to 171. Maybe a little bit of consolidation before closing above that 171 and then a further increase in price. But for a swing trade, quant is definitely a go-to for the long run. I'm bringing up OMG just because OMG turned 5,000 into 100K and got, pardon my language, got destroyed on a transfer. They said they would do an airdrop. Right here, they said they won't give you the airdrop if your money is on Coinbase, so I moved it over to another platform, which that platform decided to hold my cryptocurrency for 7 days and would not let me sell or trade it while the entire market crashed. However, we've seen this with XCN, where it tries to push over that 200 EMA, it gets rejected, pushed up over a little bit, and then held it as support, but got rejected once again, pushed up again. This could just be flatline. This could be absolutely nothing. They say it's being traded by bots, but if we can get above that 200 EMA and close, we can expect a very quick push up. The previous all-time high, I believe, is around $20. And so OMG, not the best bet to be investing in. It's just something I want you to keep in mind, that coin is out there. Moving on over to XYO. XYO, long consolidation process, but very quick movements as we've seen back here in December. And we can expect something similar if it is trying to fill out this cup and handle pattern. Looking at the downward trend, we see that it was following this channel. It had that major volume push, which pushed it up out of the channel up to around a penny and a half, more or less. And we actually predicted that almost perfectly. The 31% increase, the way we did it is we had a diamond pattern in here formation, and we pretty much just took the height of the diamond pattern from here to here and then dragged it up, and that's actually exactly, it tested a little bit higher but then had the rejection. And so you may say, oh, it's going to continue downwards because it had that major rejection. I do not see it that way, as we are testing this downward trend line on this previous channel that we had. We tested it as support. We need to push back up into this fair value gap where we had this wick off. And then once we close above this penny and a half area, the 618 retracement from the previous Fibonacci is around 0.16. However, XYO has a very, very long way to go. Cup and handle patterns are relentless for making massive amounts of profit, as we can compare this to XCN and what we can expect for XCN. We've seen it on Demo, we've seen it on a bunch of other coins. Cup and handle patterns are massive. You get a quick pop to try and keep the structure of the handle, a little bit of consolidation, another pop up to the high, more consolidation, and then once it breaks this 0.025 area, it's got a very long way to go. It does not show it on this chart, but I believe we are going well over 7 cents. Currently at a penny. So if you got a penny, a dollar, if you got a dollar, just put it in here to see what will happen with your dollar investment. Maybe make it 100. Why not? Throw in $1,000. Why not? Because we are at a very low point for XYO, but it has a very good utility case. They do have an app that you can download where you just click a button to mine. It kind of does progression, like a tracking progress. I've actually earned a couple thousand free XYO using that application, but deleted it after a while because it was kind of boring, kind of continuous. But I do expect some pretty nice gains from XYO. Moving on over to Spell, a meme coin, and used within some game that I'm not sure what the game is, but I have made some substantial gains off of Spell. Definitely did a very bad risk to reward ratio, but with that bad risk to reward ratio, I made massive rewards with very little risk. And we're at a very low point for Spell. It is 3 zeros and a 5 at the moment. However, its all-time high is, as you can see, way up here at dropping 2 zeros and getting to almost 3 cents. Some people say this can hit $1. It is a game token, so maybe you're playing a game and you want to buy more things. Those people are going to do the FOMO, and they're going to buy it up until it goes to a way high price, and then they're going to hold on to their coins while they're trying to play their game, and you can just pitch it, get rid of it, and make your profit along the way on the move up. Moving over to Compound. I've been talking about Compound for quite a while. Looking phenomenal with its downward trend line. It broke that downward trend line that we built here, and it moved up and came back, tested as support, pushed right back up over that 200 EMA, and now we are holding that 200 EMA as support, so we can expect the next push up to be around the $61 mark. We made our previous gains from entering here around 46, and it was about 27-30% on that move. We got out, waited for the retracement if you're on my signal channel, and then we are looking at the re-entry for right around this area. If you haven't entered in Compound, its all-time high is over $450. Actually, my bad, I keep confusing this one with another one. Its all-time high, I believe, is $1,000 almost. So for a $50 investment, turning it into $1,000, you're going to want to quit your job or just continue to make that money and set it aside. Compound is getting ready to explode. Look at that volume. The RSI is right a little bit above the 50. When we cross over this yellow line on the RSI, we can expect a major push up. Compound moves very, very fast. I've seen it move from $50 to $125 in a day before. And then you start saying, okay, it's at $125. I don't want to enter then. Well, you should have gotten at $50, because from $125, when it starts pushing up to $500, $1,000, you're going to really, really regret not taking $50 and putting it into Compound. Which brings me over to my next coin,